We're just having a journey through life. We get way too serious and we forget that the journey must be fun sometimes. Of course, pain is recognizable. Of course, we all go through pain. And the secret is, and I've gone through a lot of pain in my life, the secret is, I thank that pain because it brings me here. And through pain, I can easily tell you and truthfully tell you, as a mother, as a wife, as a widow, now I have a new partner, I was made a widow 8 years ago, and I can tell you as a grandmother, as a businesswoman, as a dance teacher, as a fashion designer in this one life, you know, I can tell you all the painful moments have taught me the most incredible medicine of all, which is compassion and forgiveness. And healing oneself. Because it's, you know, you can either drown in the pain or stay stuck in it, or you can transcend it, but you have to feel it. I'm so sorry. It's part of the journey. I'd love to say, take away pain, but pain actually, you know, in our science of the mind, Sri Patanjali writes, accepting pain for purification is Kriya Yoga. It's Kriya, it's a cleansing. While you're going through it, it's really yucky, it's really horrible. But if you just accept it and sit in it, you know, afterwards, maybe after 6 months, maybe after a year, maybe after 2 years, I don't know, everybody has different healing times. There is a light that just comes, and a wisdom, if we allow the forgiveness to happen. If we do not allow the forgiveness, it will stay with us for the rest of our life. And then for what? For what? Because in the end we die, so why are we spending our time and our hours in anger and frustration when, after all, at the end of it, it doesn't really matter anymore, it's done. I mean, your life is wasted. So much confusion, it's wasted. We are here to live, we're here to laugh, and we're here to hold hands with each other when we're in pain. And that's all we can do. We can't take away anybody else's pain, you know. We really can't. We can share, we can make them laugh when they're down. That's all we can do in life. And give a lot of love and kindness. Because it's hard. Pain is not an easy thing, you know. And we tell people, oh, come on, get over it. What? It's not, I wish it was that easy. But meditation helps the person who is in pain to understand this process. And this is why I tell people, please spend time alone with yourself every day, with your higher self. Because if you do, when this terrible time should hit your life, you are able to watch your mind and you are able to decipher the pain and realize it's happening because the mind is, your thoughts allowing yourself to get engrossed in it. As the Dalai Lama would say, become a grasping mind, a grasping mind. And with meditation, you learn to see the painful thoughts and then, you know what, and let them go. But this takes many years of practice. And like I said, being gone through the pain myself, I can tell you it works. You know, we're all the same. You know, we all have homes to look after, children. I have grandchildren now. I love my grandkids. You know, in fact, they're coming tonight after I speak. They're all in my home at the moment. I said, I'll come back soon. And, you know, it's. I can tell you that spirit, with healing, the whole family gets blessed. The whole home takes on a new light. And, you know, and it's all from learning from my great master, at looking at the thoughts. And today's subject, of course, is all about that, minding the mind. When we talk about minding the mind, the science of yoga says, you know, Sutra 2 in Book 1. Any of you read the Yoga Sutras of Sri Patanjali? Okay, quite a lot of you. Great. And for those who don't know, this is a book written by a saint. They say 3,000, 4,000. Nobody really knows. Spiritual knowledge in those days was only passed on through verbal. And as our world became more material and more dense, we started to lose our natural instincts. So Sri Patanjali decided to jot these, what we call sutras, threads down, and started to teach only a small group of people who could understand this higher knowledge. Today, we are living in a generation that so many are understanding now that we are spirit and that we are living a physical experience in the body. We're here for a little time, and the experience is what we've come to this earth for. We've asked for it. That's the truth. We wanted to experience. If you were just space, which is consciousness, which is where we come from, you can experience something totally different, but not this dimension of the senses. It's another dimension of the mind and subtle. This dimension, you can touch, you can taste, you can feel, you can hear beautiful music. Although the other dimension, music, is quite incredible as well. But it's a kind of like, and you can share by feeling. So we chose to experience this dimension, but we forgot we'd chosen it, and we got so wrapped up in it, thinking this is forever. We're eternal. Consciousness never dies, space never dies. We're eternal. Eternal, eternal, eternal. So this is temporary. So when you can understand that, then you can understand that all the stuff that goes on in the mind is temporary too. And as Sri Patanjali, writes all this down. I call it the science of the mind, and it's what saved me in my angry, painful times. He said, yoga's chitta vritti nirodha, which means the restraint of the modifications of the mind stuff is yoga. And then the next one, tadadrastu is swarupe vastanam, and then the sea abides in its own. Actually, the word swarupa means fullness. Fullness. What does this mean in simple language? When you learn to restrain all these thoughts, it's not talking about suppression. Please understand that this is a misunderstanding of this sutra. Many people say, oh, you have to control your mind. Control is like, I can do it, this ego thing when we use, because it's just words, right? Restrain what does restrain actually mean? Is to hold back, right? Hold back. When you can restrain the thoughts, then you can abide in your own true nature. Because when you stop and think before you react, then you can, let's say you're very angry, for example. You get angry, and if you don't practice, you keep getting angry, and you all know what happens after that. It's a vicious circle, right? You shout, they shout, you get pain, they get pain, so many people get pain. Then you feel sorry for yourself. I can't live in this hellhole anymore because we're all shouting all day, and you've created hell in your life. That's hell, So when you restrain, okay, I've gone through this pattern so many times. Do you know what? I'm so tired. I can't change anybody else, but I can change the way I react. And then when the anger comes up, then we have all these techniques, hatha yoga, pranayama. We have thousands of techniques you can use to practice, right? Pranayama's breathing techniques, hatha yoga's physical yoga, bhakti yoga, singing. There's hundreds of ways to learn to control this. But when you can take a deep breath, hold back that anger. When you hold it back, the first time you do that, it's really hard because we're so used to hitting back. Nature, human nature. Nobody's taught us this in school. I wish they do, and I hope any school teachers here. Oh, none. Shucks. Okay, you can teach in your business. In your therapies, all therapists here, right? Put it in your therapy. And if we could just restrain, hold back, before we spit out, then in that first instance, it's painful. It's painful because you want to do this. But after a while, when you hold back, and there's no repercussion of what you have done, so there's no guilt. So after you do that the first time, you actually quite like yourself. After the first initial half an hour of, I still want to shout, I want to scream, because this is normal, this happens. And the first initial half an hour goes, yeah, I wish I'd shouted, I wish I'd told them what I felt. Then later on that day, you'll say, you know what? I managed to hold back. I didn't cause harm in this way, I also don't feel the guilt. There's no comeback. There is no comeback. Now, restraining doesn't mean weakness, okay? Because when I teach this sutra, a lot of people think, okay, this person's treating me really bad, I should restrain and walk away. No, it doesn't mean that. Restraining is not acting with venom. You can act if something is not right. You can act, get up and say, you know what? This is absolute nonsense and I'm not dealing with this. And walk away. You don't have to act with venom. Thank you, Barbara. He tried. No, he really tried. Thank you, Leo. He tried. Yeah. And poor mom can't concentrate because she's too worried about disturbing. Yeah, I know. Thank you for being so concerned. No, not at all. Not at all. He did his best. Thank you, Leo. So, it doesn't mean timid. It doesn't mean be a doormat. It doesn't mean any of these things. It just means restraining so you can apply the right action. The right action, and sometimes the right action is even appearing that you are angry, but you are in control of that anger. Got it? There's a difference between spitting out and being angry to change something without that deep anger inside of you. You all know what I mean by that? Mm-hmm. It's like when we treat our, when the children behave really badly, for those who have children, and then you tell them off, but you really love them. But you're telling them off to teach them, not to hurt them, because you love them. It's that kind of thing that we have to learn. But this is just one example. There's so many variations to this sutra. So when you learn to restrain, then you can watch what's going on in there. All these confusing issues, you'll see your mind battle. You're wrong. No, that person is really wrong. No, no. I need to understand why I'm in this position. There'll be a battle initially. Why am I in this position? And then maybe also a little bit of responsibility. It always takes two hands to clap. Why are you in this position? Did I allow it? Did I let it carry on? Did I encourage it? You start to see your part in it as well, and the other person's part in it. And then if you observe this for a long time, without a break, start watching your mind, what happens? You start to take a very new, and at the same time of watching this, start to be ethical in your life. Understand the great ethics, the great truths that all the great spiritual masters have talked about, which is non-violence, truthfulness, non-greed, moderation in everything you do in life. Don't steal. See if you're observing all these things. If you are watching that, and then watching your own mind, and when I talk about all these things, non-violence, non-greed, all these things, I mean, if you're observing them with yourself as well, not only other people. Are you violent to yourself? Because nowadays, I meet people who are so violent to themselves. Oh no, I'm not good enough. I'm not a good person. I call that violence and judgment, don't you? Remember, you're an instrument just like everybody else. So if you keep putting yourself down in this way, you're never going to grow up and realize that the divine is in you. So that's also violence, not only to other people, to yourself. Are you truthful with other people? Are you truthful with yourself? Now, if you're observing all these rules, and then you're practicing the restraint of the mind, what happens? The mind over time, and neuroscience is proving this now. I was talking to Michelle today about next year. I want to invite Dr. Marla Cunningham, who does yoga for cardiac patients, and she's working now with the University of Virginia, and she's asked me to go there in November to speak, actually. Okay. She's working with University of Virginia on neuroscience and how yoga and controlling the mind works. And there are now MIR, doctors have taken out MIRs of people meditating, and they actually see the change in the brain pattern. So we were built. Isn't it great that all this old science in this generation is being proved? So look at us, how lucky we are to be brought up in this time. Even 20 years ago, 30 years ago when I started, everybody thought I was like kind of like a witch, or, hogwash, yoga's weird stuff. Only silly people, weird people, people who don't want to work do this stuff. Escaping from life. And now it's all the other way around. Isn't it incredible? In 30 short years, I've seen such an awakening. The world is not getting worse. It is getting so much better, because people are waking up to this energy and everybody wants peace and happiness in our lives. We are living in a generation that's had the most ever luxuries, most ever. No generation has been as lucky as this generation, and yet in the Western world we've not seen more unhappy people than we've seen now. What's gone wrong? What's gone wrong? We have everything and we have nothing, because we haven't understood that, with all this knowledge, we may know the knowledge, but we're not living the knowledge. We have to live this knowledge. We really have to know that we are one consciousness. And just by the practice itself, the practice of meditation or quiet time, one starts to get in touch with what we call the self, the higher self, or God, or whatever you want to call it. Really, it doesn't matter, universe. It's not a matter of words, but with this energy. For me, it's love and peace. It's peace, definitely peace. Because there are times in your life when the love is so little, and anybody who's experienced the death of a loved one, you will know what I mean, where everything is so black that there's really, the heart shuts down at this time. But there's something that's very much alive, and that's the spirit. So even though the mind is grieving and the heart has shut down, there is a spirit that can be in peace. And I experienced that, like I said, when my husband passed away. And this summer, my beautiful sister, who was like my second mom, passed away at 69. Stunning woman, heart of gold. And I realized I could find the peace in the pain, and as a result, be a rock for my family. Everybody fell apart because she was our diamond sister, and it was so nice for me that I could do that for my family. And I realized the more we work with our mind, all of us can do that for our families and our friends and everybody. I talk about my family, but really our family is everywhere. Of course, you can't say this to everyone. They think you're mad. But when we have Sangha and people in spiritual world, you can say this, Really, everybody is our family. Really, 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 ultimately, that is the truth, So when you learn to start to restrain the mind, you start to watch it, you start to see. You start to see what's happening in there. And then you always constantly have to ask yourself the question, what do I really want in this life? What do I really want in this life? And then, once you understand what you really want, for me it was simple, I want peace. My master said, make peace your God, and that rang true with me. That made so much sense to me. Don't let even God disturb your peace. And then I go, okay, that's going to be my God from now on. And anything that took my peace away, I tried to work out, why did I allow it? Why did I allow it? Because nobody can take anything away from you if you don't allow it. When you allow it, they manipulate you. And then you blame them for manipulating you. But who allowed the manipulation in the first place? You see, that's minding the mind. You're watching your mind, and then you're saying, oh my God, it was you. Come to the real truth. I allowed it. And that's why this is happening. If I had said no from the beginning, it wouldn't be happening. But in the name of being a good person, because I wanted to appear to the world as a good person, oh, you see, I'm so good, I forgive them when they cause me harm. What a lot of nonsense. Hogwash, that's ego speaking. I want to look good, so I allow somebody to hurt me. Hello? You see, we don't mind the mind, so we don't see all these tricks that the mind plays on us. I tell you a lovely story I told this morning in Central Forestdale. It's these little stories that help us understand the simplicity and beauty of life, and we keep missing its mark. So there was a fisherman sitting nicely on his boat, smoking his pipe, looking outside to the world and the stars everywhere, and he's really very happy. And then a businessman comes along, industrialist, and he goes, "Fisherman, look at your boat, and look at you so relaxed here. Why aren't you working?" He goes, "Well, I caught enough fish today for my family to feed them." "Oh, thank you, Nalanie. You're so aware. Thank you. I caught enough fish today for my family to feed them. I'm very happy, so I'm sitting and enjoying myself." So the businessman said, "You're a little lazy. But can you imagine if you fished a little bit more instead of sitting there? You could double your income. And then when you double your income, if you could even work harder. You can put a machine on your boat, a propeller, and then you can go even faster. And then you would sell more fish. And then you could afford nets. And then when you got fishing nets, then you can afford a trawler. And in no time, you can hire people who can make you so much money. And then the fisherman goes, "Then what? Then you can relax and enjoy your life." And he goes, "But I'm doing that now." Do you see how we missed the mark? The mind, to the industrialist, that was he missed the point. And the fisherman totally got the point. Living is about being here now. And that's how the mind fools us. It says, and then, if I do this, if this happens, then I can be happy. There was like a couple sitting together, and the husband tells, the fiance tells his girlfriend, he says, "It's so good to have you, but if we had some money, then we could be really happy." And then she looks at him and she said, "No, darling, we have everything now. If we have some money, it will be a bonus." So you see how you look at perceptions and things, and then we kind of miss the point. We get so bogged down with what the world thinks or what people tell us that we need, that we forget that actually we have everything we need. And yes, of course, sometimes we won't. But that's not, and when we don't get what we want, we throw tantrums. To our partners, to our friends, "I did this and I didn't get that and I done it." All these tantrums, like a spoiled kid. And we scold children for throwing tantrums. And it's all mind stuff. It's all mind stuff. We're far greater than that. And we miss the point when we do that. We think things have to be a certain way, and this is why all the greatest masters say is be in the present. And even if the present is so painful, just be in the present and find your peace there. Find your peace, find the quiet, find the silence. Because in that silence, in that beautiful silence, there is retreat for the mind. There's a resting place. And that resting place is where you connect to the higher energies. That's where you connect to the consciousness of what some people call God. I have no problems with the word, but some people do, or universal consciousness. You connect. And in that connection, there is a peace that emanates from yourself. It comes from within you because you are quiet. So when you are quiet, you connect with space. And that space is so powerful, so dynamically energetic that it fills you with all you need. Because in this body, that space is only limited. But when the mind stops it. You see, the mind is like a mirror. If your mirror is full of steam, can you see your face? You can't, can you? You look in the mirror, anybody take a shower? Can't see, can't dry my hair. Oh, it happened to me this morning, and I laughed. So I took my hairdryer. Blow you away quick. I have to get going by 10, you know, I got a baby in the house, etc. So it was, and you just and 2 seconds, it's over. And this is the kind of thing that meditation does with the mind. It blow dries all that steam away. Get it away so you can see the content of the mind. And then you are very present. And when you are very present, you become very efficient. Why? Because you're present in the moment. And that moment, you take each moment as it comes. But if we're not careful and we don't mind our mind, the mind gets carried away in its thought processes. And that's what the mind's job is. And we have to see that it doesn't trick us into this feeling victim mode, or feeling that we're not good enough, or feeling we can't do this, it's not possible. You know, all these things that we hear from society, and, you know, every day I'm dealing with people who are so petrified because they think the world is the worst place, and they get a shock when I tell them, oh, you're just watching the news. And I said, the world is actually much better than it ever was. No, Nalanie, how can you say that? Don't you know there's this election and Brexit and that and that? And I go, yeah, but how well are you? How well are you now? Is there anything going wrong? I know Brexit, but has anything happened to you yet? No. Why are you living in the future when the future hasn't even happened? Oh, Trump is going to do the atom bomb, etc. And I go, has it happened? Why are you foreseeing something? The more you think about it, the more it will happen, because thoughts make energy. If anything, send Trump lots of light. Maybe he might do something really good. Yeah. Send him love and light. Send him light. We can blast the darkness with light, but, you know, I've got so many emails from the States when Trump went in. Promise, Skype calls, everything. From people I know in the States. Nalanie, what's going to happen? I said, don't add to the fear. Just enjoy the roller coaster ride. Just enjoy, and send the guy a lot of light because he needs it. You know, if we use our mind to think negative, we're giving. You see, the universe doesn't judge. It doesn't judge. It doesn't judge. We judge. So it can just feel negative. So it will give you back negative. It doesn't judge. But if you give it positive, it will give you back positive. You are building vibrations in the universe. It's like sound waves. So, like, for example, if you want to get a radio station, you're going to in your car and you're going to 96.5 FM or whatever it is, and you get that channel, right? So if you're talking and fearing, then you're going to hit the negative channel. And the negative channel will just give you negative music. And then you say, oh, the world is so horrible. No, it's just your fear tuned into that channel. The universe doesn't do anything. It just gives you back a mirror. It's a mirror. It shows you what you're doing. That's all it's doing. So you're creating your own vicious circle and cycles, and we're blaming everything else for it. So the secret is to watch your mind doing this, you know, and before it gets into a spiral, it's like a snowball, right? Rolling down the mountain, we get avalanches. And that's what we do with our minds. We create this thing, this monster in our mind, and we allow it to gain momentum, and then it destroys our life. But if we can just hold back and watch and live in the present, ask this moment, what is really happening now? Yes, this pain has been caused to me, but this moment, I'm sitting here. This moment, I'm really okay. This moment, I have to trust. If you try your best to change things and it doesn't work, after that, you just have to let go and trust. And the mind doesn't want to let go and trust because the mind wants to control you. And it believes it has the control. Anybody try to control the mind, think you can control the world, you will learn you can't. There's something also that's called destiny. And there's some lessons we have to learn. I don't know why, but we have to learn. And that's destiny. And destiny just had to happen to you. So you try your best, and if it doesn't work, you just have to let it go. You just have to let it go and say, I've done my best. Now, I'm not going to put anything out there in the universe. I'm just going to heal my pain now. Come what may. I just want to be in this moment. I'm tired of thinking what the future will bring. I'm tired of remembering the past pain. I just want to heal myself now. And when you start to want to heal yourself and all the pain and all the sadness you're going through, then there's a wonderful energy that helps you. And that's why they have the statement, God helps those who help themselves. Yeah, there's this lovely energy. You see, it doesn't judge. Please understand this. And most of our times are because of all that we have learned throughout eons, generations, that, and it's stuck into our consciousness that we're constantly being punished for doing something wrong. We constantly judge ourselves. We constantly judge. And because we judge ourselves constantly, we're constantly judging everybody else. When you stop judging you, you stop judging people. Because you understand that life is just a series of circumstances. And I have seen people make horrible mistakes in their life. And I've also seen them change tremendously when they really want to. Not that anybody can help them change. It's when they really want. I just ask people a question. A simple question. Do you want to live in heaven or hell? Because it's here on earth. Of course, I want to make my life a heaven, but it's don't understand, it's horrible. Okay, it is. Do you want to enjoy a little peace in the horrible? Yes, I do. Take a few deep breaths now. 3 minutes they have had peace. Doesn't that feel good? Now in the horrible, you can have many 3 minutes of peace. And then over time, when you practice, you can have many hours of peace. Not only the 3 minutes once in a while, but you start with that. And when you are in it, give yourself a pat. Nobody else will. Don't expect it. And that's again, oh, haven't you noticed I've changed? And, oh, really? No, don't expect a thing. Know it for yourself and give yourself a pat and say, yeah, I struggled and I've come out of it. I managed it. Yay. I used to tell myself, yes, all the time. Yes. I got over this, we have patterns of behavior. And my pattern in my early years was to blame my husband for all the wrongs. He was always wrong, I was always right. For him, I was always wrong and he was always right. So you can imagine the clash, right? And then when yoga happened in my life, when my master appeared as a guru, and then I started to meditate and I realized, oh my God, what have I been doing? I'm just as much to blame. And that ego doesn't like to accept, because then it makes you feel a little sick, and physically in the beginning you feel really sick, you feel vomity. I call it ego sickness. And you have to recognize that too. I tell my students, when they come after they do a course, sometimes they feel a bit sick about themselves. And I go, oh, it's okay, you're just purging all the rubbish out. Oh, Nalanie, why do I feel so bad about myself? Let it go. Because all the bad stuff that you have done is purging out, and you feel really pretty sick that your ego is that big, It's okay, let it go. It's part of the process of healing. Cry if you need to, shout if you need to with me, because I will not take it personally. But learn to restrain. And normally, recently I just had a teacher training, and one of these teachers who always thought she knew it quite a bit. And during the course, of course, it will come out, because that's what these courses do. that she knew very little. She thought she'd be the best in the class, and of course there were people much better than her. And this was a shock to her system, and I knew this was going on, but she didn't. She didn't because she wasn't minding her mind yet, right? She thought she was, but she thought she had all the information. She'd been meditating for 5 years, more than everybody else. So of course she's better than everybody else. But when the course started, she realized this was not the truth. So what happens? She's got a really sad face, and smart girl. She's a smart girl. She called me and she said, "Can I really see you?" I said, "I'm fully booked, but we got a cancellation, you see, because it was sincere." So I called her, "Please come, please come." And then I smiled, and she goes, "Nalanie, I feel so horrible." I said, "Welcome to ego sickness." So how did you know? I said, "I was hoping you would call me, because I went through this many years ago when I recognized myself. And I thought I was so smart, know it all, just because I had a little bit of spiritual knowledge. And I realized there's so many people in this world so much better than me, you know. And also I realized there's some people who are not like me. And that's absolutely okay. Isn't it nice to be average? Do you have to be the best all the time? I said, be comfortable. Just be you. Because in you, there's nobody like you. You are excellent. You try to be better than everybody else, you lose your excellence. And when we talked, and I saw her getting lighter and lighter, and guess what? Her next talk was brilliant, because she let that connection, I have to be the best giving this talk. Do you see? That ego, which she didn't see she had, she started to recognize. And it was that ego, that minding the mind, that was holding her back from her true ability. Because really, this girl had a gift. But it was her ego that was stopping the gift from flowing. But when she recognized that, and you know what, even if I'm the worst, I just become myself. She let go, she watched her mind, she had to battle with it, and in the end she won. And you know, that made me so happy for her. And then after that, she gave a public talk, and I was very happy for her. She managed to do that with great love and naturally. Not from, I have to impress all these people. Because if you work from that instant, it's not genuine anymore, right? Because you want something back for yourself. I want to impress. So if they're not impressed, what happens at the end of the day? You're disappointed. Who wants to live in that hell? If you like it, great. You don't like it, also great. This is the non-attachment we talk about in yoga. Just do the work for the love of it. Just do the work for the love of it. Expect nothing in return. If you get something, wow, it's a gift. If you don't get anything, you never expected anything anyway. But the love, the energy in the love of it is what you get out of it. And this is what the story of the fisherman. Just the joy of being and loving fishing, getting enough, not being over greedy, and then having the ability to just relax in it. Just to be in it, not thinking all these things. These industrialists was thinking like so many, you know, months ahead, and so much fear, so much fear. How can you be sitting here looking at the sky when months ahead you could be dead? Could be dead. So what's the point? So this is minding the mind, having the ability to watch yourself. Watch yourself. And when you get the biggest tests, the hardest times, that's when you really have to watch the mind, because that's when the mind will want to take control of you. You say, no, I'm stronger than you. But it will appear that really can't do this. I really can't do this. Then seek help. Get somebody who's neutral to help you. It's an intelligent person that will seek help. And seek help from somebody who's positive, please. Who's elevated in the mind, who's joyful. Seek help from somebody like that. Okay? And then then also the other thing you have to apply is patience. Patience. Be so patient. Wait. Things pass. They need time. Be patient with the world. Be patient with yourself. We're immortal. This is only one lifetime. You know, Master Chinmayananda, he used to say, make haste slowly. Thank you, Laurie, for the light. We needed light. Make haste slowly. Make haste in your spiritual growth, but allow the time. Allow time. As it is, as we get older, life will give us many, many experiences. Having this science of understanding your mind will help you go through those experiences and make you very rich through them. Every experience is supposed to make us rich, not poor. The other day, I was invited to a very close friend of mine for 30 years. She's actually my doctor's wife. He's the first one who taught me about healing 35 years ago. I was a severe asthmatic. Anyway, it was her 70th birthday. It was a tea party, and I cancelled everything. I can't miss the 70th of a good friend, can you? Because we never know how long we have them for. Anyway, I went to her birthday, and this wonderful friend, she's 70, but she could be 50, the way she looks. She just looks like our Turtu, beautiful, you know? How old are you, Turtu? Do you mind? 70?
71.
Yeah, and look at her, right? This is amazing, you know? And my friend, Sheila, she looks 50. She looks fantastic. And, you know, her daughter had a surprise party organized for her. And they showed a DVD of her life, and each of her children and grandchildren, all of them mentioned one thing about her, and that was her infectious laughter. Everybody said that. And the son and the daughter said, you know, Mom, your infectious laughter fills our home with love. Even through the bad times, your infectious laughter is always ringing in our ears. Don't you think that's such a great compliment? And I was looking at her, and you know, she started crying the whole time with joy, and she was laughing because she's just that nature, you know. And that's why she looks so young, because she's constantly laughing. And a few years ago, of course, she had a special needs child, same time as my grandchild, same time as my daughter, in the same week. My daughter had a special needs, and her son had special needs. And I remember so many years ago, she came to talk to me, and I said, you know, and she was really scared and really worried and really distressed. And I said, this is not your nature. Your nature is, you know, laughter. I said, you know, if you can look at it as a blessing, and that's what my daughter taught me. Mom, Talia is a blessing. She's an angel come to teach the world. And I said, if you can look at it like that, your whole family will look at it like that. You know, because she was worried about her, you know, the family accepting it. And so she did. And she transformed her whole family. And today they're doing so much work in Gibraltar for special needs. Just that infectious laughter, you know. And the other day at her birthday party, there was the granddaughter sitting on a wheelchair. And she was walking around to all of us. And then she went straight to the wheelchair. And she looked at the grandchild. And she goes, Safi, ha 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 ha. And you see the special need just, you know. And I just thought, this is a beautiful life. In the pain, because Safi's quite, you know, Safi's really quite, she's got Rets, which is a difficult one. And to watch that joy in that pain, and to watch what everybody said about her family, I thought, this is a beautiful life. This is somebody who's learned to mind the mind over all, and I've known her for 30 years, and I've seen all her ups and downs, and how now she's just learned to surf it all. And as a result, this was her 70th birthday gift, you know, a tribute to her as a human being. What higher tribute than your whole family and your husband as well telling you the love of my life, you know, when you were 70, the most beautiful thing that happened to me. Don't you think that's a great tribute? I think, wow, she's done it through all the ups and downs. Congratulations, young lady, you did it. You did it. And Because she learned to mind her mind. Oh no, it's okay. What time are we? Am I running out of time?
No, it's okay. It's nearly 25 past 6.
Okay. So she learned to mind her mind, but it took time. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I watch her struggle, like I said, over the years, and I watch her create this wonderful thing, whereas now, for so many other women, she's an example, and she's stunning with it. And, I think, oh, my goodness, so great to see that. So great to see that. People who will never come into yoga but meet her has experienced yoga. They've experienced it through her. They've experienced that peace, that joy. So what is the real meaning of yoga but to find that peace in life? So the work is minding your mind. And watch that it doesn't fall into old patterns. We have to break those old patterns. This is the secret. This is what AA teaches, Know that there's a higher God or spirit that's within you. Know that that's in control. And then everything else, right? And you watch, they have to keep watching those desires come up. Poor guys, I think it's the hardest thing in the world to be an alcoholic or drug addict. That's so hard. Now these people can get over this and then become so spiritual and help the rest of the world. I think they deserve medals. Because if any of you know what addiction it is, the worst disease in the world for the person is real suffering. They don't want to hurt people. They can't help themselves. And when they get help and they transcend the mind, that's what they do. Now, for those who don't have addictions, it should be so much easier for us, shouldn't it? It should be so much easier for us. They go through great challenges, much more than we will ever understand. I'm lucky I wasn't born with any addiction. The only addiction was blaming people in my mind, and that's gone now. Thank you, because that makes you feel very free. So whenever the old patterns, because they're very clever, they come up. The same old patterns start to come up after some time, and I watch it, and I go, not going there. Not going there. So then I'll do something creative. For me, creative is I love to paint, or nowadays, give satsang, and that's it, it's gone. Give a talk, or somebody else needs me. It's gone, it just goes, But old patterns will keep coming up, but you have to be smart and watch them. You have to be smart and watch them before they take you over. Because if you give them a little space in the mind, they will take you over. And they want to. I say, I need to, I need to express myself, and I do feel so bad. Yes, but you expressed yourself 100 times already. You don't need it to do it 101 times. Do you see? You've already done it. And after 100 times, there's no change. So why do you have to keep doing the same story again and again and again? Who wants to hear a broken record? Who's suffering with a broken record? Who is suffering? When you look at it, it's yourself. Nobody else. So what can you do to fix the situation? Fix yourself. Find your peace. Fix yourself. Find your peace. And remember what I said earlier on? Make peace your God. And that's how you know what to do and what not to do. I'm doing this and I'm agitated and I'm in pain. Oof. Now I need to have some quiet time. Find my peace before I go back to this. Because if I don't find my peace, I will get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So what's the point? You may be doing a good deed, but what's the point if you have zero peace? You make yourself a martyr for what? Everybody ends up suffering in the end. So you need to walk away, find your peace, and then come back. Then you are strong to face whatever you need to face. And that's minding the mind. Watch the old grooves, watch the old patterns. I'm not going back into this old pattern. I'm not. Make peace your God, and if you have to let something go, you have to let it go. And trust that the right truth will come out in the end, because it always does. It always does. In my life now, 62 years, I have seen no need to wish anybody any judgment. I have seen those who hurt people. Oh my God, I really pray for them because I see it come back to them. Maybe 3 or 4 years later, and I really have to pray for them because I really don't want them to suffer, you know. But then karma is karma. You can't control it. You cannot control it. For example, my husband, so many years I tried to tell him to stop smoking. He wouldn't listen. Then one day I went into my temple and I said, you know, Divine Energy God, your son, you look after him. I think I've told you this before. I'm not going to tell him anymore. I love him. I'm tired of nagging. I'm tired of screaming. I love him. And now I'm just going to love him. And then at that point, we were moving house and I stopped telling him. And when we moved house, he said to me, the first thing he said to me, darling, I'm not going to smoke in the home anymore. If I have to smoke, I'll go out in the balcony and smoke. You will never have to inhale my smoke. And then a few years later, by himself, my daughter got pregnant, and he goes, I can't, he took his cigarettes, 40 to 60 a day, threw them away, and he said, for the sake of the unborn child, I'll stop. Now, he had to do it himself. I couldn't help him. He helped himself in the end. And then he felt really proud of it. And then he became the most anti-smoker you could see. Oh my God, you know? And then he goes, I don't understand why this person can blowing smoke into your face. You're an asthmatic. And I laugh and I said, you did this for years, you know? Well, what can you do? But the sad thing is, he had to face the karma of it. He died of cancer. Do you see? I could not change that for him. All I could do is love him. All I could do was love him. But it's cause and effect. And because his lungs were so weak from all those years of 40, 60 cigarettes, the cancer spread very quickly. The good karma that he did was that he didn't suffer so long. See, so good karma, bad karma's mixed. It's not a judgment. It's just you have to face what you put out. So he smoked all those cigarettes and his lungs went. The good karma is he was a wonderful husband and father, and his whole family were surrounding him and nursing him in his last 6 weeks with so much love and singing and joy. And he had a lovely dad. That was his good karma. Do you see what I'm saying? We are not in control of this. What has to be, has to be. What you put in, you will get out. So mind your mind. Be aware of the thought patterns that are happening. Nobody can do this for you. We are the only ones that can do it for ourselves, and we can reach out and say, please help, and somebody will make you feel positive for half an hour, but then you have to live with yourself for the rest of the time. So be smart and use this great science of meditation and pranayama and hatha yoga. It's a great science. And just start working on yourself. Just start working on yourself. What do I want out of life? Peace. What makes me the most unpeaceful? I'm jealous today. No wonder I'm unpeaceful. I'm feeling so jealous. Why do I need to feel jealous? Why do I need to feel jealous? Because I feel I'm not good enough and everybody else has more than me? Then let me look at my life. Do they really have more than me? No, they don't. They have 2 legs, 2 arms, face. I'm just as rich. So why am I jealous? I'm causing pain to myself. And then when you work with your mind like this, I don't need to go back into that pattern. And then you go back, oh yes, I realize that in my past, it was my parents' pattern. I'm not my parents. I have the best of them. I always tell my kids when they do something, you know, da da da. No, you have the best of Dad and you have the best of me. We have the worst part. Remember that. You have the best of us. Never think you have the worst of us. Okay? Because we all make mistakes as parents, right? So, and this is what you do with your mind. You do the same thing, you know. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean that thought is you. I'll give you an example. I had somebody who saw me many years ago, one of my first patients actually, who taught me this, and he was very happy in his marriage. He had 2 children, everything was going well. Suddenly he got into a deep depression, and he came to see me, and I was talking to him to find out where, everything. He's got a good job. He's got a good wife. He loves his wife very much. And then he went into depression. And then anyway, he was, after 3 or 4 weeks, because it took him a long time, I said, what has caused, it must have been a trigger. I need to know where the trigger happened. And of course, then he came up with it. And he said he had a dream. He had a dream, and in that dream, he was sleeping with another man. And then he got up in the morning really frightened. He said, am I going to be unfaithful to my wife? Am I gay? It wasn't questioning. He was just worried about being unfaithful, first of all. Then he said the next time, because it was, of course, if you think about something a lot, what happens? You'll dream it again. So he had the same dream, but he didn't tell anyone. So then the thought raised in his mind, oh my God, maybe I'm really gay. Maybe I'm in the wrong marriage. Up to this point, before the dream, nothing was wrong. Then he got into depression for 6 months. That's when he came to see me. Because in the back of his mind, he developed this fear. And of course, sexually, he became impotent. Do you see how, look, just with that dream, okay? And then his wife got worried. What's happening? We've had such a good relationship up to, well, what's happened? She thought there was something wrong with her. I'm not attractive enough or whatever. Anyway, then I said to him, tell me one thing. He said, what? When you walk down the street, do you look at men? Because I needed to know if this was also the case. He said, no, I think women are beautiful. So I said, if that's the case, why have you been suffering all these months thinking you're gay? You just had a dream. He said, what? I said, yeah, ask yourself. Do you see yourself as a gay man? Can you see yourself with another man? Oh, no, Nalanie, never. So why are you worried? Have you been unfaithful to your wife? Never. Then why are you worried? What is all this? It's all mind. Your mind got so messed up by this dream that you believe this fantasy. And I said, the mind just had this dream. Drop it. Do you know, immediately when he realized that, immediately he gave me a huge hug. He goes, I'm actually fine. I said, yeah, throw all those tablets away, but slowly. Because, if you're on antidepressants, you can't stop like this. Slowly. But he stopped in 1 week because got the answer. He got the cure. And then he was like, I can be a man again. How odd, right? And I learned a lot from him. He taught me this great lesson, how powerful the mind can be, how it can fool you. It's not about right or wrong. It's, it just breaks your whole, existence value. And he really believed it for 6 months. And I thought, wow, we're very lucky to have found it in 3 weeks, So this is the state of the mind, and this is why the yogis call the mind, you all know, right? The mind is like a drunken monkey and stung by a scorpion and possessed by demons. And really, you could see this in his mind. That's what happened. Finally, he became possessed. He was possessed with that thought, which was totally had no basis as truth. It wasn't truthful at all. So, many times I've seen this. People have a thought in their mind, right? And they think about it too much. And they make that small thing so big. And then when I look at the real situation and I go, but it's just not the truth. It's been here. It's so big, but in reality, there's nothing that really happened. It's a small thing. Okay, maybe somebody gossiped a little bit about you. It's a small thing. In the scheme of the world, somebody saying something negative about you is a small thing. But in your mind, how could you say this? Then you got angry, then you blamed your husband because he said, don't give it energy. And you give it more energy, then you're arguing with your husband, then you're arguing with a friend, and before you know it, you've got 3 enemies when it was just one small gossip. Ignore them. If somebody's gossiping about you, don't make them your friend. Just walk away. I mean, why do we make such a big fuss? Do you see how foolish the mind gets? And then we believe it to be true, and then we get, and then they come in panic attacks. I can't deal with this, you know. Oh, calm down, you can. See the truth as it is. Now, this moment, mind your mind, watch your mind, watch your mind. And then you put nice thoughts in it, like, you know, wow, the sky is beautiful. You know, I look at the face. My niece is staying with me with her little baby who's 2 months, and I look at those big eyes and I go, life, precious, you know. I watch my niece and I watch her struggling because it's first child, and I'm teaching her about all these things that, you know, how to give the baby a bath, and Auntie Nell, she's screaming so much. Normal, don't worry, it's only attachment that makes you worried. Is she sick? Is she this? Is she that? It's your first child, this is normal. You know, is it normal? Yes, you're not stressed out. All first time mothers go through this. So, just relax with it. Do you know? And then she goes, and today, you saw her this morning,
Yes.
she's been with me 4 days now. Different person. So calm. I said, you're a yogi. This is normal. First child. But she was frightened because she was alone. So sometimes you need advice, you know. And I told her, you're doing everything perfectly except you're stressing unnecessarily. You're a good mother. Colic is normal. No, the baby's feeling your stress, that's all. Oh yes, she said, my husband says I must be present. I said, yeah, he's right. You must be present. Don't get irritated with him. Because he tells her, just be in the present. You don't know, no, he's 100% right. Be in the present. Be in the present. And he, when he holds the child, is in the present, so she doesn't cry. Say, thank God. So, and you watch this, and you see how the mind can just get you to all kinds of places. And I said, you practice so many years, now is the time to use the practice. The baby is your biggest challenge of all. And she said to me something so beautiful. She said, you know, Auntie Nell, I thought I understood unconditional love. I never have. After I had this baby, she said, I had a huge battle with my ego because I became zero. There was no time for me anymore. It was all, baby's got colic, baby this, baby that. There was no more me. I said, yeah, that's unconditional love. And children teach us this. They teach us this. And when we stress out and blame them, we lose the magic. But when we relax in it, we gain the magic of the great lessons we learn. And that's all we need to do, you know, because there's so much now in the way, iPads and messaging. So you put your phone aside, you don't need to do that. You just don't need that now. The most important job in your life is this child. Enjoy it. They soon grow. They soon grow. And then you see the enjoyment, you see the laughter, you see the, you know, last night after a satsang, I took them out for a little Italian meal because I thought she needed to get out of the house, and the baby was on the father's body. Baby didn't cry for 2 hours. Not a sound, not a sound. And they had a lovely meal, and I see no stress, relax. Even the baby's relaxed because you're enjoying the moment. When you enjoy the moment, then there is God in your life. Then there is peace in your life. Then there's this connection. And that's what it's all about. That simple. And all you have to do is mind the mind. So with that, I will finish my talk today.